Oh, Coasters, it's Bruce here, and I'm in Mokanui today, and
Actually, you're in Summerlee.
Summerlee. Is
Yeah,
that
that's what
right?
it used to be. This used to be where the Summerlee school was on the corner.
Oh, I didn't know that.
There you
Well,
go.
now it's a really special interview I'm doing today because this young lady was actually my neighbour when I was growing up as a 10-year-old, and she lived across the road with her husband, and so we had a lot to do with each other as families early on. And now, Joan, we're both older.
Much older.
So, Joan, what's your full name?
Just Joan.
Didn't get a second one?
No.
Oh, that's
well, I sort of did. I was christened Joan Agnes.
oh yes.
I never liked the Agnes.
Oh, so you said that.
But I wasn't registered. I was just registered Joan.
Could they do that?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, whereabouts were you born?
Westport.
Right. And whereabouts in West? Where was
The old Kawatiri maternity home where the Workmen's Club is now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I've interviewed a number of people who were born there, and
Most of us our age were.
of course, of course. Who were your mum and dad?
Annie and Mick Bedina. Mick was a loco driver up at Stockton.
Right.
Yeah.
Bedina.
Berdina. Berdinner.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Interesting name. So, what was their background?
What was their background?
Yeah, what was that?
Dad was a loco driver at Stockton.
Right.
And Mum came out from England. She was a pom.
Oh, that probably explains a wee bit.
I'm not a woman.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say. So when Mum brought you home from the from the home, where was your first house? Where'd you go to?
Stockton.
Wow.
Yeah.
Back up the hill.
Yeah. And it was the first year they never ever come out to Mokanui for their Christmas holidays. The mine closed down at Christmas. They were all loaded onto Willie Hawkins's truck
Yeah.
and came down to Mokanui for Christmas.
Wow.
It was the whole family, the cat, the dogs, and a couple of geese.
Was it as cold and miserable at times as
No.
it wasn't?
Stockton was, I'd say, probably 5 degrees, possibly warmer than Millerton.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. You'd go through Millerton and you'd hit the dam and there'd be a fog down.
And the temperature change.
Temperature would change.
So around the house, was there fruit trees or anything like that? I guess probably not.
No, we had a good garden though.
Yeah.
Dad used to go down the bush with his sack on his back and dig out the old rotten trees
Right.
and bring that up and
Oh, to
fertilise
the ground.
Garden.
Wow.
Yeah.
What did you have brothers and sisters?
Yes, I was the youngest in the family.
Yeah.
And there was 3 girls and 2 boys. There was Glad and Tony and Jack. Jack was always known as Packy. And Audrey and myself. And there was 10 years between each of us girls.
Wow. So there's 6. You've got 6 in the family.
5.
5 in total.
Yeah.
And 10 years between
The 3 girls.
How did Mum do that?
The 2 boys. I was a mistake.
Oh, is that what it was? I'm sure that wasn't the case. Did the family give you a nickname when you were growing up?
Yeah.
What was it?
Duff.
Oh, Duff.
Duff. Well, when I was little and I wanted something, I'd point it and I'd say, Duff, Duff.
And so that stuck with you?
That's my name, Duff.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Where did you attend primary school?
Stockton.
So it had a school up there?
Yeah, of course we did.
I didn't know that.
Been up until the 1950s, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how many kids would have been there roughly? Was it 1 class or 2 class or?
For quite a while, there was 2 classes.
Yeah.
And then,
So that'd be around 40 or 50 kids, maybe?
35, I suppose.
Yeah.
One parted, and then we dropped right down.
It just started to
And the first teacher, I thought she was the most wonderful person in the world, her name was Alison Mary Douglas. And I always used to think, Alison Mary Douglas. I wanted to be like Alison Mary Douglas.
And she was obviously a nice person.
Oh, she was lovely. She came out from Westport every day in the bus.
Yeah.
And we never started school till 9:30, because that was the time the bus got there. Yeah, and there was her, and the other infant teacher we had was Renee Burns, and there was another one, Miss, can't think what her name was. And for teachers, I'll tell you one you'd know, was Brian Watson.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah, Brian Watson was a teacher up there.
I'll be played.
Yeah.
Wow.
We had Jim Orman, they called him Cowie Orman.
Yeah.
We had Brian Watson. We had Mr. Sherson, Mr. Bock.
Gosh, you've got a good
there's
memory.
one. Yeah, I can't think of the other one. There was another one there. And the other primary teacher we had was Shirley Hodson. That was her name.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were you a book reader? Did you like reading books or not really?
Not really. I like listening to the radio better.
Yeah, I was exactly the same. You weren't alone there.
Yeah.
Remember how we used to all huddle around and I remember it would be a big occasion, wouldn't it? When
Yeah.
there was one series called The Dossier on Demetrius.
Yeah.
Do you remember
I
that?
used to watch that.
I tell you
listen to
what,
that.
it was.
Yeah.
I couldn't wait to get there and wait for it to come on.
Come on.
Yeah, it was great.
And Lord help anyone that started talking.
Oh,
Shh.
oh, it was terrible. Whereabouts did you attend high school?
Granity.
Okay.
Granity District High School.
Yeah, and that would have been in those days. It would have been good student numbers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. What was?
We had the teachers there were Doug Petrie, and then again struck Cowie Orman as the principal
Right.
there, and I can't remember who the teachers were. The shorthand ones.
And they're all at Granity School.
Granity, yeah, there was 4 teachers, and then you went over to the manual training block.
Yeah.
And there was a woodwork teacher there and a manual training teacher there.
So if you had a favourite teacher out of Stockton and Granity, can you remember one that you thought really helped you, really liked?
Alison Mary Douglas.
Oh, of course. I didn't have to ask that, did I?
And she used to stay after school and teach us to play the piano. Not that we were any good, but she had patience while she waited till the 4 o'clock bus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, she's a good person.
She was lovely.
Did you play sports at school?
Yes, but I wasn't really a sporty person. I tried.
Yeah.
I can remember at high school, I ended up at the hospital. In those days, the shortstop used to stand right up almost between the pitcher and the home plate.
Yeah.
You were there. And Alyssa Wishart, she is now, Alyssa Van Eysden was batting, and I went up as shortstop. And what's her name? Janice Rostvist was the pitcher. She pitched this ball down, and Alyssa missed it, but just caught the end, and it was coming towards me, and I ran to get it, and she let go of the bat and hit me in the ribs and broke the ribs.
Oh, that would have hurt.
That hurt. that was one episode there, and then another time we were having tabloid sports, and Dorothy Philp and they were having a wheelbarrow race, and I got to the end holding Dorothy's legs, and then we swapped over, and she slipped. No, I slipped, that's right. And I went right underneath her and broke my collarbone in 2 places. I didn't do it in one, it was in 2.
Actually, that would have hurt.
It did.
Oh,
And it was a Chinese doctor there at the time.
right.
Dr. Wong, I think his name was. And he used to come up to Stockton at night time to tighten the brace things on my shoulders.
Oh, to keep it in place.
In place, yeah.
Oh, you poor thing.
I'd get off the school bus on the way down in the morning, he'd tighten them then, and then he'd come up about 5 o'clock at night, do them.
Oh, he's a good guy.
Wonderful.
Oh, good guy. So when you were at school, were you shy? Were you introverted? Were you extrovert? You know, what would your close friend have said?
I was friendly.
That's a good start, isn't it?
Yeah, I didn't take sides. I was friends with everyone, sort
Yeah.
of thing. Yeah.
Did you, when you were growing up, did you have something that you wanted to do? You know, was there something you really wanted to do?
How do you mean? Like
For-
nursing or?
As a job going forward, you know,
Yeah.
what did you want to be?
I always wanted to be a nurse, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Mum and Dad wanted me to be a school teacher,
Yeah.
but I just didn't like that idea.
So, what was your first job when you left high school?
I went Kawatiri, a nurse aide at the maternity home.
In
Westport.
on Westport.
Yeah. And our pay, because we lived in, was £8 a fortnight.
£4 a week. Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Did you feel like you were rich?
Oh, yes.
It was a lot of money, wasn't it?
You put things on lay-by and paid them off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who did you work with?
Imelda MacArthur.
Jim's wife?
Jim's wife.
I remember her. I remember her well.
Yeah.
She's a lovely lady.
She's lovely.
She was a nice lady.
She's real gorgeous. The matron was Sister Palmer when I started.
Yeah.
And then Margaret Whittaker took over. She
Was
married Mel Sheldon.
out from out at Charleston?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, she was lovely.
Did you work with Mrs. O'Day? Was she?
Nancy.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
So who else did you work with there? Who were the other nurses when you started, or the aides?
Dorothy Robertson, Dorothy Phil.
Yep.
Again. Maureen Taylor. Maureen died. She married Keith Clemenson, but she died.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one, you know. Mabel Hunter.
Oh, you're joking.
Mabel was there, still aiding. She was getting on a bit.
Yeah, of course.
Mabel was there.
They're a good crew.
Oh, they were great. Philippa Hawes was another one. Mick's first wife.
Yeah.
Philippa.
Yeah.
Morrison, Peggy Morrison. She married Skinner. Jepper Skinner.
How do you remember all these names?
Oh, I can remember everyone. I'll tell you another one. Maudie Gear.
Yes.
She was matron of the hospital there. Jude Moss. Oh, Jude was a sweetheart.
And
real sweetheart.
was that Michael's wife?
No. Jude Moss, she was in charge of O'Connor Home.
Okay.
She never even married, Jude. Yeah.
Dear.
Yeah.
And so you started off as an aide. What happened then?
Miss McGill, she was the matron. She wanted me to go and do training. Nah. If I was bad enough if we lost a baby, and if we'd lost a person that you'd nursed, I'd have been a court case.
Oh.
So I just stayed aiding all the time. But we did everything the nurses did.
How did you handle it when a wee one passed away? Was it really sad?
Yeah. I couldn't sleep for a couple of days half the time.
Yeah.
But I loved night shift. And at Christmas time, they used to think I was crazy because I'd say, I'll do Christmas Day. But the thing was, I was home at 7 o'clock in the morning and I'd go to bed and I'd get up in time for Christmas dinner about, say, 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock. Then I wouldn't have to go to work till 11 o'clock at night. So I had Christmas Day every year just about.
And that'd work out quite well, wouldn't it?
It worked out well, but worry me.
And so did you ever nurse any of Mum's kids? My mum's kids? Were there any of them come through during your time?
Would have had Robin.
Oh, okay, about that age.
Yeah, I think.
So you might have had Diane.
Diane, yeah.
Because Mum was...
Oh, no. I wouldn't have had Diane because I'd have left then.
Mum was determined to keep you all on the job down there.
Yeah. And even a couple of imports.
Yeah, of course. Oh, well, look, and you know...
She was wonderful, though. Your mum was a lovely lady. And there was 10 of you, 10 Smiths across the road, and there never seemed to be that many, but there always seemed to be 100 of Hills next door.
Yeah.
But there was only 5 Hills, and I'll tell you a wee secret, a story about the Hills. My dad always used to keep a pane of glass in the wash house because they'd play cricket on the front
On the
lawn.
big front lawn.
Yeah, and ping, one would go through the window, and it'd be, Mr. Diener, we broke the window again. So he'd have to whip over. I'll tell you what, the putty never ever got hard.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
And he'd swap it out before Fanny Hill got home.
So, oh yes, of course, you'd have to, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
So when did you retired out of nursing?
Yeah, when I had Annette.
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
that was another one that was wonderful there, was Anne Thompson.
Lived out at the back road there somewhere.
She lived in Gothard Place.
Yep.
And Kath Craddock,
Oh, okay.
that's her sister.
Oh, you've got all the Westport names there, haven't you?
Yeah,
Goodness me.
yeah,
Goodness me.
yeah.
So now, a question that I always ask, it takes people by surprise, but when did you first start dating? Because, I mean,
Probably 17.
because you married Basil and he was a bit of a slow, he was slow getting off the mark, wasn't he, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
So do you remember your first date?
Not really. I remember going to Coops, it was called at the time. It was a milk bar.
Right.
And he came in with these leathers on and everything. I thought, oh, what a creep.
Was this Basil?
That was Basil.
Oh, you're joking. Oh, because he was a motorbike boy, wasn't
Yeah, he was on his motorbike because then he had his leathers and his tight pants
he?
on.
Yeah.
Oh, what a creep. And then my girlfriend started going out with Laurie Haggerty. Laurie was killed
Yes.
in an accident. And, well, he got round with Basil and I got to know him and that was it.
The how would you describe him? What's his best quality? I mean, I've loved him for years.
I could tell you the worst.
Hey, be careful. He's just walked in behind you. Just
You gossip.
yes. Yeah, sit down there, will you? We're just in the middle of something. So what do you think? What would it be?
Well, he thinks he's always right. And
What do you
probably.
think?
He's been a pretty good provider over the years, hasn't he?
Oh, yes.
You know,
yeah.
he's not frightened to go out and shoot a
Yeah,
deer,
I've
and
got to make my own coffee.
yeah. So, sorry, Joan. We do get a bit of interference here. As we're doing these things. So, you've been married over 50 years.
Yeah, 50. We were married in 64.
64, yeah.
January 64. So what's that for? 54 years?
What a great run. How on earth have you put up with him?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Everyone says I need a medal and it's a wonder I don't trip over my halo.
Yeah. So, did you ever meet your grandparents?
Yes, yeah.
And were they old and crusty, or were they? Did you
Yeah,
get to
they
talk
were
to them? And
Old, yes. Oh, my grandfather, Ted Bedina was his name, Old Ted. Granddad was called Old Ted and Uncle Ted was Young Ted.
okay,
And Uncle Ted went to the war and he put his age up to go to the First World War and then he went to the Second World War and he caught malaria.
goodness me.
Yeah. And I don't think he saw service in the First World War. He was sent home on a ship.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Granddad, I used to go and play cards with him. He was older and he'd tell you stories and he had pipes. He smoked a pipe. And he used to let us light the pipe for him. Oh my God, you nearly choked on it.
So what did he do for a living? How did he make his living?
He was like an ostler. Used to
What's
look
an
after
ostler?
the horses up the mine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And Mum was a mum? The grandmother was a
No,
mother?
I never knew Gran. She died before I was born.
You know, it's really surprising how few people that I get to interview have actually met their grandparents. It's very
Oh.
rare to find anyone who's met all four.
Oh yeah, well, I can remember Grandma Graham and Grandad Graham, they lived at Millerton. And he went blind. He got in the mineral water, got in his eyes in the mine,
Right.
and he was blind. And they shipped him from Millerton. They lived on Porridge Hill, they called it. And they shipped it to the Betch down here, right on the corner.
Oh, that's where the family history is there.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
theirs. That was their Betch there.
Yeah.
And he was blind. And as a wee kid, I can remember going there. I was 5, I'd say, and going there, and he'd sit in his armchair. I've still got the armchair in there, to be honest. I'm a hoarder. And I'd sit on the armchair, and he'd sing, "I love a lassie, a bonny wee lassie." Like that stuck in my mind. That song.
Well, that's a good thing, though.
Yeah.
That's a good
And
thing.
Grandma they used to grow hops at the side in the pet, well, next door, and she used to make them homebrew.
Oh, wow.
And she'd have to make his bottles, and he'd have a couple of little bottles, and he'd say, give the beer and a drink, Ag, give the beer and a drink." And Gary was my cousin, he used to get as jealous as one thing when I'd get a drink of a wee bottle, about this big it was. I think it might have been about the size of a vanilla essence bottle.
And so they grew the hops on site.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's amazing how many of them are around.
Yeah.
It's what was the first car that you and Basil had when you got married? Can you remember? I forgot to ask Basil. He wouldn't remember, you see.
I don't know whether it was Morris Oxford. No, it was he sold his motorbike.
Oh, that would have been. Oh, you must have been in love, you see. That's the thing.
No, this was after we were married. When
Right.
Annette was on the way.
Oh,
And he still never got £30 for it. But the chap's dead now, so we won't ever get that.
Yeah.
He sold that, and he got a coupe thing.
okay.
And I used to go to work in it. I'd drive off to work, I'd go, and I always carried an umbrella with me, and the girls would say, "What do you got an umbrella for?" I said, "Oh, I've got to drive home." And they must have thought I was crazy, until one day I was giving Philippa a ride home, and I'd get out the back, and it never had any part between the boot and the seat.
Okay.
You see? And I'd get in there with the brolly and go whack, 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 whack around in the back of it. And she said, "What are you doing that for?" I said, "There's bloody prowlers around here." And there used to be sometimes, there'd be chaps coming from the nurse's home. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the nurse's home was a very popular place for young fellas.
Yeah.
Now, do you remember when you first got a refrigerator at home, or did you always have one?
It was when my sister got married, just before she got married. So I'd be about 15, I suppose.
Yeah.
When we first got the thing. But other than that, we used to have a safe outside, like a little cupboard, and it had drawers in the sides and on the bottom.
And that was on the outside of the house,
was on
I guess,
the
on the
outside of the
south
house.
side.
Yeah,
suppose?
on where there got no sun.
It's hard to imagine now, isn't it?
Yeah, and when we used to come down here, we used to have a tin one that you hung in the porch, and it had circles in the side of it with claws in it, and in the.
So, Joan, how
bottom
did
of
they get on when they caught whitebait? And how? I guess you had to eat it straight
You
away.
had to eat it straight away.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah.
How have things changed in the world since when you were a kid? I mean, when you look out now and say, "Here's someone out here who was young," what's it like for them compared with what it was like with you?
I think we appreciated what we got. I mean, you'd get a doll for Christmas, right? Well, that was a doll for Christmas. You didn't expect another one, and a pram, and a big pile of clothes and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
You got sort of like one thing. You'd probably remember that, Bruce. You didn't get a whole lot.
No, we didn't. No, but it didn't seem to miss out either.
No,
you
you didn't miss out. And you made your own fun. And you didn't have cell phones and everything. Up in Stockton, there was only one Morgan's, the miners' manager's house, Labry's and Jenkins's that had phones.
Oh,
Four
wow.
phones in Stockton.
And nobody else had a phone.
Nobody. Oh, and sorry, the Willie Hawkins, that was the storekeeper,
Yeah.
and the post office.
So when did you first get TV? I was telling my grandkids
When
about,
we were
you know,
married. It was
Oh.
after we were married. We were around at Mum's. How old's Annie?
so mid 60s.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I remember you'd remember this. Remember the Costleys used to go down with their blanket and a cushion and sit outside Greenwood's window and
we
watch
did.
it?
We did too. That's exactly what we
Yeah.
did. And Dad would take us down to be freezing cold. And I can remember watching, the first one I saw was something called The Saint.
Yeah.
And then there was something, I don't know whether it was Bonanza or something like that.
Yeah.
And apparently the signal had come from Australia. I don't know at the time, but we'd all be huddled up and it was a great night out.
Yeah. Yeah. And I tell you another program that I loved and the kids always watched was Daktari.
Oh, yeah.
Can you remember
Oh,
that? The cross-eyed.
Yeah, the cross-eyed lion.
Clarence, wasn't it? The cross-eyed lion.
And
the little chimpanzee.
yeah,
Got into all the mischief.
they were good programs and early on.
They were great.
Did you in your life, did you ever come across someone that you got involved with and they influenced you in the direction or the way that you thought in a good way? Was there someone who was, like a mentor or someone who you really looked up to?
Well, nursing Margaret Whittaker or Margaret Sheldon, she was absolutely lovely. You never ever worried when you're at work with her. I'll tell you something. I heard a baby cry. It'd be 10 to 20 minutes before it was born in the womb.
How did that work?
Well, the woman's waters broke and the baby cried. We actually heard the baby cry. And Dr. Wilson, you probably remember him, used to feel like grabbing a wheelchair and stuffing it under him to hurry him along. He'd come plod, 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 never in a hurry.
Yeah.
And he came and he patted me on the shoulder. He said, you're a lucky girl. He said, in all my years, I've never heard a baby cry before it was born. He said, you're one very fortunate. And that was, Margaret Whittaker was on with me. It was on night duty that night.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Joan, how would you describe your sense of humour? I mean, you and Basil, but you've got a ready laugh. I mean, that's such a big thing.
Yeah. I take things to heart a lot, but I can see the funny side of things. I can remember one time in town when my auntie was coming along the road and she fell off a bike. Well, I couldn't stop laughing because it looked so funny, because she went to kick her dog, a little fox terrier, out the road and she went...
Oh, it missed.
This, and off the bike she went. And I'm saying, you all right, Auntie Sis? You all right?
Do you remember Mrs. Costello across the road?
Costello.
Was that what her name was? On the right-hand side of our place was an elderly lady, and I always thought it was a Mrs. Costello. There was Mrs. Stannard.
Halls,
Yeah.
there was Halls, and, what was her name? She had white hair.
Powell. Mrs. Powell, yep.
Yeah, then there was you.
Yeah.
And then the next one that I could remember in there was, what's his name? Bailey's.
There's Bailey's and
Not Bailey's.
from Karamea.
No, before them.
Lynham.
No, before them.
O'Keefe.
O'Keefe's.
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, Stan
Yeah.
O'Keefe was there and for a number of years. And when Stan was there was a lady who lived in the front on the porch. And she's very
No,
old,
I
and
don't
I've often tried to work out who she
I
was.
don't remember her.
When, as you brought the kids up, were you part of any organisations like PTA or Plunket or anything like that?
Oh, kindergarten.
Oh, of course.
The kindergarten ones. Yeah,
And
that was good. And I'll tell you what, one time we were at a meeting and it might have been Cheryl Rusk, Lindy Roberts and I were the only ones that didn't have a coloured name.
wow.
There was Jewel Lemon, there was Dorothy Gray, there was
Jules, Harry's
White.
wife.
Yeah, Mavis White,
Yeah,
Claire Brown. She was Claire Stack,
yeah.
but her married name was Brown. And the school teacher was what's her name, Green.
Oh, I love it.
And it was just amazing. I said, do you know, we're at the odd man out, we're not coloured.
The colours of the rainbow.
Yeah.
Well, what about famous people you've met? You met anyone famous? Did you ever see the Queen come to Westport?
Yes. Yeah.
Mum always told me that I was born in 1952.
Yeah, that'd be the year.
Well, she said that the
Roundabout,
Queen
I
came
think.
out the next year in 53 to see me.
53.
Yeah, she wanted to see me. Do you think that'd be true?
Who's to call your mother a liar?
Exactly,
She was
and-
such a lovely lady.
Now, Joan, you've wandered a bit around New Zealand, and had a look around, and have you been to somewhere where you really loved? You know, somewhere
Mokanui.
you really are settled in here, aren't you?
Yeah.
And
Look, what better could you see? Fred always used to say as we came over Aldridge's Hill there, oh, who needs to go to Hawaii? Look at this.
yeah,
And just as you come over and you see that sea, beautiful sea, and you see the Nikau palms and that, it is.
it's quite special, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's a lovely view.
And you know, wandering around down the beach there before with
Yeah.
Basil, where you know you can actually catch a snapper here,
Yeah, of course you
and
can.
and you can catch whitebait.
And you can catch spotted kahawai at the river mouth.
Oh wow, it's kind of paradise, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, was there anything you ever wanted to do that you never got round to doing?
Yep.
What was that?
Go to Bali and also to swim with the dolphins.
Wow.
I've always wanted to swim with the dolphins. I don't know why, ever since I was a little kid.
Well,
Weird.
it's not too late, is it? Oh, well, I guess it's. You know, there'd be a.
I'd scare them off if you put me in a swimsuit.
No. They're lovely, lovely creatures. Now, you know, there'll be a lot of young ones that'll be watching this, Joan.
Yeah.
Have you got a message for them? You know, how can they have,
Learn respect. Respect to me is the biggest thing out. If you don't respect someone or something, it's nothing.
going to be pretty difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, respect is the biggest thing I see missing in young kids today. They're
Well,
all
like-
for themselves and no discipline. When they stop them disciplining them in the schools and that ruined a lot of education, I reckon.
Yeah, and I guess that business of saying, look, there's no winners and there's no losers.
Yeah,
It's
you've
always
got to have competition, don't you?
you've got to, because
Yeah.
you apply for a job and sometimes you miss out. You ask a girl out and sometimes she says no.
Yeah,
You've got to know, and that's what sport does.
yeah.
Sport helps us learn how to
Yes,
lose,
Yeah, it
and,
does.
and in a
Yeah.
way that works pretty well.
Yeah.
So, what age would be the age that you recall as the best age of your life? Just roughly.
Oh, 18.
Yep.
You were learning things, you were doing things, you were no longer under your mum and dad's thumb sort of thing. You
Yeah.
were given a bit of responsibility.
Yeah, and you remember that? You remember those first times when you hop in a vehicle and you can actually go somewhere
Yes.
wherever you want to steer it,
Yeah.
and pretty exciting times, wasn't it?
Oh, I used to do that before that.
Oh, really? Well, I'm sure.
My pocket money was on a Saturday night. My brother was home from the Air Force. He'd been in the Air Force and he was working up the mine. And he had a Morris Oxford van. Morris Minor van. It was a Morris van anyhow. And in the back of it, they didn't have any seats, so they had a mattress where the other ones sat, and they'd go to dances at Wyoming and
Oh, I love it.
War and that. And that was a Saturday night. And I'll tell you who used to go with them. John Sturgeon.
Oh,
Sturgeon's had a farm at Stockton.
right.
Yeah. And there's John Sturgeon, Lofty Back, Norman Canoe. They'd all get in, and away they'd go. But the men would sit in the back. And of course, sitting on the mattress, their knees were, right up like
Yeah.
this. And money would fall out of their pockets, the silver. And anything I found in the
Oh,
van was mine.
I love
For
it.
cleaning it.
I love it.
I used to have quite a bit of pocket money sometimes.
What was the hotel? The big high.
Peggy's.
No, the one at Westport where you went round the corner where the DB Westport was, or the what was that? Was it the Grand Hotel?
Grand, yeah.
We used to go
Oh.
round the car park there, and look, honestly, there'd be checks and there'd be money, and so as kids we'd head out there on a Saturday morning and a Sunday morning, and we'd do the scoop, and every time we'd find something.
Yeah.
The checks we always had to return, of course, because they're no good to man nor beast.
The Grand. Oh, this chap, I was walking home from night shift, from afternoon shift it was, and coming up the street, and this chap was following me. So I thought, oh, blow this. So we were friends with the cops. They used to come down on night shift and have a cup of coffee with us and do
Yep.
their rounds of that. And I thought, oh, whip in there. And it was Ron Antle and Pat Downs were the two cops on this night. I said, oh, there's a chap following me. I'll just wait till he's gone. So they marched. They said, oh, well, we've got to do it at our rounds now. Come on, we'll walk up the street with you. So we get to the picture theatre and the moves are coming out. And Pat Downs said, and what are your parents going to say when we walk you home tonight? And I, so the next night I was coming home again and the sod was following me. I thought, oh, I'll whip into the cop shop again. No one was there. I thought, oh, what am I going to do? There's no movies on or anything. So I went up and I went into got a wee bit ahead, and I crossed over, went into the Grand, and I ducked behind this tree. And he walked past around and he went to the corner, couldn't see me, and then he coming back, and this chap came out of the pub. And I was behind this tree, and would you believe it? He decided to relieve himself.
Oh.
And he just missed me by about that much. And that's what I remember about the Grand Hotel.
Oh, geez, I wish I hadn't brought it up now. Holy mackerel!
You should have said, gee, that's a little one.
You should have said, I didn't think we had them in New Zealand. Well, look, Joan, on that note, I don't think we can beat that. Well, look, coasters, this is Joan Climo, and we're at Mokanui.
I go to the pensioners now.
Oh, you
We
do?
have pensioners at Granity.
Oh,
Yeah,
well, there we go.
there you go. And they have housing every second Wednesday night.
Now, there's a bit of free advertising from
Yeah.
Joan there, girls. It'd be
Yeah.
and you enjoy it, of course.
Oh, lots of fun. They come out from town even to go to ours because we have supper. Put on a real lovely homemade supper.
So before I wind this up, is there anything else you want to... is there anything else that I've forgotten?
Yeah, we ran a fishing competition for kids for 20 odd years here.
Out here, yes.
Yeah,
A
and
big...
now, no, this is just little kids under 16.
Yeah, no, it was a big event, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, now the domain board's taken it over again.
Oh, good.
Yeah, we got past it. Got sick of it.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
look, there we go, coasters. And I'll try and wrap it up here because I know she's going to think of something else. And so you can watch this on the Coasters Club YouTube channel. Just type in Joan Climo, a coaster, and it'll come up. It'll be there within 3 or 4 days. You'll see this as a 6-part series on the Coasters Club. And if you have a look at the Coasters Weekly next week, you'll see Joan's interview as one of the feature articles on our weekly publication, which at the moment is going out to 33,500 people every Tuesday night at 5 o'clock. So, Joan, thank you so much for talking to me. It's
I'm famous. I'm a film star now.
But you've always been famous, and so's Basil. I mean, there's
I've
not.
even met Hog Snort Rupert.
Did
Do you
you?
remember him?
I do.
Yeah.
Pretty girl, can I? Is that the one?
Yeah.
Take
yeah.
you home.
Yeah, that's him.
Right, folks, I got to get out of here. Hey, Joan, we'll catch you later.
Okay, bye, Bruce.